There's this sound in my house. It's not the kind of sound you notice at first. It's subtle, like the faint hum of electricity in the walls or the distant groan of old pipes. But once you hear it, you can't unhear it. It's always there, just beneath the surface, waiting for you to listen. Weaseling into your brain like a famished little earworm. I live alone in an old Victorian house on the edge of town. It's the kind of place that real estate agents call charming and full of character. But what they really mean is that it's falling apart. The wallpaper is peeling, the floorboards creak with every step, and the air always smells faintly of mildew, regardless of how much Mr. Clean or Clorox are dampening the floors. Financially, it was a good deal and gave me the fresh start I thought I wanted. What better cliché way to escape a dysfunctional family and toxic ex-boyfriend than to move 1,000 miles away and buy a fixer-upper nobody wanted? We were both throwaways of sorts, kind of like kindred spirits in a strange, depressing way. So I thought I could live with its quirks. I thought I could ignore the way the shadows seemed to linger too long in the corners or how the air felt heavier at night. Like the house was holding its breath, like the way I held mine. But then the whispers started. At first, they were faint, little more than a rustle, like the sound of wind through dead leaves. I told myself it was just the house settling, the old wood groaning under its own weight. But the whispers grew louder, more distinct, until I could no longer pretend they weren't real. They weren't coming from outside. They were coming from the walls. The first time I heard them clearly, I was in the kitchen. It was late, the kind of late where the world feels hollow and the silence presses against your ears. I was washing dishes, the water running hot, when I heard it. A voice, soft and insistent, murmuring just out of earshot. I turned off the faucet. The house was silent, but then it came again. This time, it was clearer. A single word hissed from the walls.
Listen.
I froze, my hands dripping soapy water onto the mildewy floor. The voice wasn't coming from one direction. It was everywhere, echoing through the room as if the walls themselves were speaking. I told myself it was nothing. Stress, maybe. Perhaps lack of sleep. It's been a rough couple of months. But deep down, I think I knew better. Then just like that, it stopped. The next night, it happened again. I was in the living room, reading by the dim glow of a lamp. The shadows stretched long across the floor, and the air felt heavy. The house was holding its breath again. Then, the whispers returned. This time, there were more of them, multiple voices, overlapping, murmuring words I couldn't quite understand. I froze, my book slipping from my hands. The voices grew louder, more urgent, until they were almost shouting. I pressed my hands to my ears, but it didn't help. The sound wasn't coming from outside. It was coming from within. I scrambled off the couch, darting towards the front door. As soon as my hand touched the knob, the whispers stopped. I turned slowly, my breath ragged and uneven, scanning every corner of the room. Yet, as if mocking me, everything remained exactly the same. I'm so tired of running, I groaned, my trembling hands clawing at my forehead. And even worse, I had nowhere to run. That was my last thought before I bolted to my bedroom and slammed the door shut. The next morning, I noticed something strange. The wallpaper in the hallway, the same wallpaper that had been there since I moved in, was peeling. Not just peeling, but curling away from the walls, as if something behind it was trying to get out. I wanted to ignore it, but this time I didn't try to fool myself with tales about the humidity or the age of the house. I knew better. I also knew, as much as it pained me, it was time to get out. As I was packing the last of my things, the whispers returned, louder than ever. This time, I could make out words.
Let us in. We're so close. Just a little more.
I grabbed a flashlight from the nightstand and approached the wall, my hands trembling. The peeling wallpaper seemed to pulse, as if something beneath it was alive. I reached out, my fingers brushing against the paper, and it moved. The wallpaper rippled, like water disturbed by a stone. I stumbled back, my breath catching in my throat. That's when I saw it. A face, pale and gaunt, its features twisted in agony, pressed against the wall as if trying to break through. Its eyes were hollow, its mouth open in a silent scream. I screamed too. The face disappeared as quickly as it had appeared. But the whispers didn't stop. They grew louder, more frantic, until the entire house seemed to vibrate with their urgency. I ran down to the kitchen and grabbed a knife. I backed into a corner, my eyes darting around the room. The walls were alive, the wallpaper peeling away in great sheets, revealing something dark and pulsating beneath. The whispers became screams.
Let us out. We've been waiting. You're ours now.
I slashed at the air with the knife, but it was no use. The walls were closing in, the faces pressing against the surface, their eyes burning with hunger. I tried to run, but the floorboards buckled beneath me, throwing me to the ground. The walls were everywhere, their voices deafening, their hands, yes, hands, reaching out to grab me. I fought, but there were too many of them. They dragged me toward the wall, their cold fingers digging into my skin. I screamed, but no sound came out. The last thing I saw before the darkness swallowed me was my own reflection in the mirror across the room. But it wasn't me. It was one of them. I don't know how long I've been here. Time doesn't exist in the walls, but I can feel them, the others. They're all around me, their whispers filling my mind, their faces pressed against the surface, waiting for the next one to take my place. And now, I hear it. The sound of footsteps. Someone's in the house. They don't know it yet, but they're not alone. The walls are watching. The walls are waiting. And soon, they'll be free.